rainbow bridge, the nose, geometric designs, the eyeballs, see the conveyor belt. That's the infinity sign, huh? Going horizontal, space vectors. Then you got the vertical. The plus sign. You want to be on the plus side, which means you're adding value to the cosmos. How do you add value? Well, when you're at zero, which is what love is, which is an infinite love vibration, an infinite love vibration. I watched a movie last night called Inception. They have little visuals that they show you because it was talking about going into people's subconscious mind in their dream state, trying to astral project what they thus experience in a dream state in their subconscious when they're asleep, how that affects what they experience in the future. And so they had little symbols, visual information symbols. And one of them was a little tiny top that began at the beginning of the movie, where you spin that top, and you see, hey, that's a galaxy. Yeah, that's a galaxy. And you can see as it begins to slow down, ooh, it's called a wobble. So now when you think about a galaxy, it's in perfect balance with the cross. Whoa. It means every unit of energy that is conscious and aware of itself with a soul and led by spirit is in perfect balance with atom, vibrating at the highest rate of speed. So I used to get sort of, I've mentioned this before, bite the silver bullet. Right? You're an outlier in a scatter plot because you realize that the tightness of all those units of energy which represent consciousness is what are the population centers of commercial cities, commerce, corporate, Nazi, national, socialism. Corporations run the show through the Babylonian company, company B, company C, company D, right? So all their cities are corporations, which means that the corporations, which are by definition parasites, okay, because they're always running a deficit because they run a money system that runs on a deficit. You start with 100 and 100's all you got. You charge interest. You're never going to balance out your energy account, ever. And it used to be, back in the day, that was actually an executable offense. So what that means is that you could execute everybody that's participating in a corporation because they're draining electrons out of everybody's battery. Okay? That's the truth of it. Okay? And this is why, as a child, I'm thinking, you know how to count numbers, right? Yeah. Okay, so you know how to balance your energy account? Yeah. I'm wanting to always be at zero because the next thing I'm going to do is what love is, which is a positive experience. Now you're into positive bloodlines, and now you're in negative bloodlines. -13 / +13. What happens if you're breeding more negative polarity beings? The poles are out of balance in a planet ship. Because now you got more parasites feeding on what? The plus side. That's why most of the plus side, like I'm a plus side, I'm an AB plus side, I don't have a lot. And that's why when I was a child, I was giving everything away. And the reason for that is because you want to circulate. Circulation? Does that mean circulation every time I take a breath? My blood is circulating through my system and it's running on electrons? Yeah, that would probably be a pretty good idea, you think? So that means that I already know how to keep balance in a planet because I got to keep giving away electrons more than what I'm taking, right? So you're giving all your electrons away. And that is known as photons kicking out electrons, which means we're energy givers. Okay? So all you got to do is just run the numbers on the planet. And when you realize that every time that there is a completion of a magnetic circuit on the planet that is based on a transaction between minus / plus of a basic arithmetic calculator, do the math. You got to know that the universe is a mathematician and a physicist, which is math codes, okay? Which are chromosome codes. So when you go into your chromosomes, you begin to realize, hey, these are computer codes. Well, what is a computer? You're computing numbers, alphanumerical formatting characters. So now you get into conditions and contracts, and now you get into unconditional love that doesn't require a contract. And that's why when I heard Patty Broussard say one time about soul contracts, I thought to myself, Patty Broussard, I don't need a contract. I'm an infinite being, which means I already made a decision to be an oversoul, which means I decided that I wanted to light myself on fire in 2016 because the seed doesn't want to ever be separated from the flower. So when you look at somebody sitting in a lotus position, right, and you're running a straight line up and down between both hemispheres, right, and so now you have the cross, which is the center point of the cross, which means you're in perfect balance between both, which would be, if you will, X and Y, which is the infinite side between the eyeballs going this way, and then you get into 3 waves, which is 3, even though I'm one, a single pole. So when you're at a single pole, you're at the center point of balance, which is 0 ohms, which means you're always zeroed out, which means you're always running an infinite love vibration, which means you chose to serve forever, which means the door's shut. There are no longer any contracts. Okay, which means wherever love is, we are. Wherever the light is, we are. Wherever you find love and living spirit, we are. So that's eternity. So when you know that you're an eternal being because you've chosen to be one by willing to serve forever and close that door, you can't fool the universe when your soul's chosen to do that. Okay, because that door will be shut. Okay, so when you choose to do that, which means to choose to serve forever, which means you're gifting photons and electrons, which means you're gifting love forever, it's over. See, so in that movie, The Inception, they showed doorways, exit doors, East Gate to Eden, Paradise, 528. What's 528? 5, 2, 8, right? That's 15. Go look at the template, the original blueprint template of HU1, this universe. See, so it's actually pretty simple. That's why I've always said this many times. It's a numbers game because energy is numbers. Okay. So you realize, as simple as it is, a -1 and a +1 zeroes itself out. Right. So now you get into the quad, which is the differential equation. Now you're into the differential speed, torque speed differential displacement of water because you know DNA is born out of water. So if your water worlds are in balance, it means all your cells are in balance, which means the cross that is inside a circle or a sphere is in balance. So if your energy is in balance, what does that mean? Your mind is in balance. Your central nervous system is not experiencing any distortions, which means you're not experiencing any distortions in your waves. So I sort of translated this, how this works in real life. So I'll just give you a couple of examples in my own life, because teaching is also a demonstration, because we tell stories by what it is we've learned to what we experience in our mirror, because the experience is the teacher. That's basic feedback. Hey, now I'm experiencing the result and the use of my energy. Right? So how fast do you learn how to use energy in your mirror? Right? So that's when you go the difference between losing light, gaining light. Your mirror's going from light to dark. Your spirit wants to purify itself to be in that mirror. So you realize when you're being exposed to an enormous amount of goo codes, toxic contamination, dirty water, and all the rest of it, then you want to be running a high-speed wave to burn it off. So you realize when you get into energy debts and the universe wants to be balanced, and you realize how heaven thinks the consciousness of what love is, it's going to burn off what it realizes does not serve the best interest of a universe that is evolving to a higher state. Because they simply are not learning fast enough in order to maintain balance in a galaxy and another galaxy, in order to maintain its own balance. So when you think of that as the simple calculator of a minus/a+, and you haven't learned how to use a simple arithmetic counter, now you understand why they use accountants in their corporations. And that was what I realized as a child. I called them bean counters, or what we used to call as a shell game, where they used to put 3 walnut shells out and you have to guess, which means known as a sleight of hand, where the penny was or where the pea shell was. A pea, a round pea underneath a little tiny walnut shell has been cut in half. So now you begin to realize you can translate this in what they call rob Peter to pay Paul. Rob Peter to pay Paul. So they play shell games with their money, which means as a child, we grew up, played a game called hide and seek, right? Hide and seek. So they played a cat and mouse game because they can hide behind masks. So they hide numbers. So they lie, they cheat, they steal, they murder, they kidnap. And the reason for that is because they don't ever want to lose power over others from which they steal their energy. So these are energy wars, which are electrical wars. So that means they're always in debt because they got no electrons to give you, which means they're not experiencing what love is, which is what light is, which means they're not photons that are giving away electrons. So now you understand how they become inverted. They're inverted. Their consciousness is inverted. So they derive their power from us. Okay? That's why when I was growing up as a child, I was giving everything away, which essentially means is you want to keep those electrons circulating at a higher rate of speed because I don't want to accumulate them as attachments of what I hold in memory. Keep giving everything away. Keep giving everything away. So my speed is... because you're attracting more light. You're attracting more light. So you're keeping your mirror as hot as you can to purify your spirit as you go through space to experience everything that you're experiencing between then and the next one. So now you're completing circuits, one circuit completion after another. So the faster that you're completing magnetic circuits, you're burning off all the goo codes. So that you know that you're going to be there. Future proofs past, back to the future. I'm still here. I'm still experiencing what love is. So you know that you represent the center point of a cross. Absolutely. And so this is why I've always said this is sort of a numbers game with a simple calculator. So children, sometimes it's hard for me to want to use certain words that I could use because I view disgusting, pathetic. How can anybody be that stupid? That isn't higher intelligence and all that kind of stuff, but I don't do that because I have such an enormous amount of compassion for those that have found themselves running such a high level of deficit because of the amount of psychotronic weapons that were used against them, that if you're not already, how do I put this? This is not, that being in here was not a beginner's course in spiritual warfare because it was for all the marbles. Okay, so I was already aware as a child that the deck was stacked against them, which is why I cry for so many beings that are here that are held captive by the system. And as a result are running such huge deficits because of the system itself that they came into, okay, is completely corrupted and ass backwards. Okay, and that's just the truth of it. Okay, it doesn't have any energy to give you because it doesn't have any love for what it is, which means it doesn't have any love for you, or if you will, life. They do not celebrate life with love. They celebrate life through money, which allows them to have power so they can have all their stuff because they perceive the universe because they know that they're chasing electrons. We're the ones that kick out the electrons. So they got to keep feeding on those that are kicking out electrons in order for them to maintain what it is they're aware of an energy, which is who we are, that they feed on. That's simple math. Okay, between negative magnetic polarity, positive magnetic polarity, and being one, being a neo. Okay, that's why Mr. Smith said, we're here because of you, Neo, because you came first, because you're the one. Which would be Adam, vibrating at the highest rate of speed. So Mr. Smith, if you will, artificial intelligence, acknowledges Neo came first. That's right, because artificial light did not create the universe, because that's the name itself implies what it is, which is artificial. So you know that it's not living light, which is what love is. It goes on forever, gifting electrons. So it runs on our energy. That's right. Keep itself running. And the way that you knew that, and the way that I knew it as a child, was a torque differential displacement between what it is and what I am in a mirror. So you know that it doesn't run as fast as you do. That means it can't number crunch that much energy that's taking place at once simultaneously throughout all of the tree of life creation. Because a machine is not an atom vibrating at the highest rate of speed. A machine is a creation that came out of from what we create and thus program it. Right? Programming machines, other machines programming other machines. Because now all the information, which is based on the numerical codes, is running through all the other codes of the terminals. So now you get a chance to decide what codes you want to hold on to or burn off based on what it is that you are in energy. It is running the operating system. So when I knew as a child I am what love is, so I'm not going to allow anything that isn't what love is to represent what it is that I am in energy. And the reason for that is because you're going to burn off anything that is less than what that is to maintain what it is that you know that you are as an identity, as a soul, which is what love is. So you represent the highest law. So you represent the highest speed of an atom. It's in love with itself because the energy feels so good. So you know that you represent the highest law because you do no harm. I mean, common sense would dictate that the only reason you have some guy wearing a badge with a gun running around and burning up consciousness all day long in a combustion motor vehicle is to let you know, hey, I'm a gatekeeper. You get out of line because you're not following the rule of a computer terminal based on artificial intelligence. You're going to pay. You're going to pay more electrons. So you're feeding the vampire. So the whole system was set up to feed the vampire, which was to run artificial intelligence, which is the illusion. Because artificial light is not real light. It's not eternal light, and it's not an eternal love vibration. That's the illusion. That was a brilliance in that movie, Inception, because they would always refer to what's real. What is real to you? So I knew as a child, love was what's real. So I knew as a child, this is an illusion. Because I'm not experiencing love everywhere I go, because that's where I'm from, because that's my heart and soul. Simple as it gets. But it's not that simple, is it? Because you realize there are so many gazillions of people on the planet that do not experience what that is because of the resistance to experience it. Because of the density that you have to break through in order to experience all your circuits that are on fire. See? So anyway, I'll leave you with one example here. Because this is really where it sort of came full circle, but I've had so many full circles because even when you know at 4 years of age, you're on a spiritual battlefield. But I'll just give you one example. I got laid off from the Forest Service when I was, 20? I just turned 21 years of age. I was up on the Angeles National Forest, 6,000 feet up. About a foot of snow came overnight, so they laid us all off that day. I looked at a postcard sent to me by a friend of mine who was another surfer from Newport Beach, California, and said, hey, I'm living in a treehouse called Taylor Camp. Come here. And I'm going, yeah, let's go. Right? And so I drove down the bottom of the hill, went to Orange County, got myself a ticket, jumped on an airplane, flew to Lahui, landed on Kauai. All I had was a surfboard and $10. That's it. And was just excited to be able to look at an island that was full of flowers. And I thought, man, I thought I landed on another planet. And because I just got laid off, I wasn't going to get a check, or what they call unemployment, through the federal government, because of interstate unemployment checks between the federal government took approximately 6 weeks. So what do you think I was living on? Living water, starfruit, mangoes, avocados, passion fruit, right? Bananas, red bananas, yellow bananas, pineapples, right? So I realized Mama gives us everything we need. The land, the earth gives us everything we need. And for the first time, it comes full circle when you realize I don't need them. I'm no longer dependent on them. I don't need a job to work for them to feed their system. Mother Earth is giving us what we already need. And that's why when I got back from the island of Kauai, my mother looked at me and she says, I have never seen you look so healthy in your life. You have a sparkle, a star in your eyeballs. What have you been doing? It's pretty self-evident. I let go. I let go of being held captive by something that doesn't serve us. And that's a corporation, because it's a parasite. They're all parasites. Those are all your cities that are incorporated. So what are you going to do with them? Right? Have a great day. Bye now.